Buffalo, James Brown. You are listening to Sunday Brunch with Lynda D. Brown on Ferguson, USA High Talk Radio. I have a special guest in the house. We have Mr. Wesley Bell. Mr. Bell is running for St. Louis County Prosecutor against Bob McCullough. We want to give a shout out to him just for that. Wesley, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you get started by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so as many know, I'm a city councilman right here in Ferguson. Well, a few blocks over. I also head the criminal justice department at St. Louis Community College, the Slow Valley campus, which is also in Ferguson. I've served as a judge. I started my career as a public defender, and I currently serve as a municipal court prosecutor. And I think that I've been a long-term advocate for community policing, and that's something that I think when we saw the things that occurred in this community, the mistrust, a lot of it came because we did not have those relationships between our community and law enforcement, and that's a big deal.
Absolutely it is. I have lived in Ferguson twice in my lifetime. Wonderful community. I mean, it's so accessible to everything. I'm going to be real honest with you. The two times that I've lived there, I've never really had an issue with the police. I remember my second time living there, I had some friends that lived literally right around the corner, and I was getting ready to go visit. And of course, I went past a little park right there off of Ferguson, and exactly right. And here they come following me, but he just kind of waved at me, and once he realized that everything was okay with my car. And he just kept going. So I've never had a problem in Ferguson, but I was aware that there was an issue with Ferguson. Now, this all happened with the Michael Brown situation in August of 2014, if I'm not mistaken. Since you're a city Ferguson councilman, tell us what's going on with the city now.
So now, I was elected in 2015, so about 8 or so months
after. Okay.
Michael Brown was killed. And so one thing that we've been pushing for is court reforms, and that's something that we see regionally too. Because oftentimes we talk about these issues in the context of Ferguson, but these are regional and national issues.
Exactly.
But we got an opportunity to address them here, so let's take that opportunity. So that's the first where we started. We're pushing for court reforms, and we've done that in many other areas, and courts have done that too. The Missouri Supreme Court who seemed a bit reticent prior to about getting involved in these issues, in the last several months has been getting more involved, which is a good thing, and also pushing for community policing.
Right.
Again, I'll keep pushing because that relationship between law enforcement and the community, there's nothing more important.
Right.
And to give an example, if someone's streets are bad, that can really upset people. But as soon as that street is fixed, you're good.
Absolutely.
But when you have a bad interaction with an officer, that doesn't go away.
Right.
You can apologize, but that doesn't go away.
Right.
And so we need to change the culture. We need to continue changing the culture. We brought in Chief Moss. We brought in a lot of new officers. And then, and again, I don't want to make it seem like all officers.
Absolutely.
By and large, are good.
Absolutely.
Are good individuals doing it for the right reasons. But we got to change the culture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, one of the things that we had an issue with in the St. Louis area after the Mike Brown situation happened was the grand jury selection and the way this grand jury was handled. Now, in your battle with Michael McCullough, will you when you win, will you have any jurisdiction over that? Maybe changing some of the ways that the grand jury works and the way that they operate.
Yes, and I can tell you the first thing that I would do is that I would advocate for all grand jury proceedings to be recorded.
Exactly.
There's no reason why they can't be recorded. And some will say, well, sometimes there is an ongoing investigation. Well, in that case, we can say, hey,
we can redact it.
We can redact it.
Exactly.
But why not just record them? Because we have, and we've long suspected that witness testimony is not always being brought accurately, and I think the Michael Brown and the Darren Wilson, to clarify that, the Darren Wilson grand jury reflected that when we saw that the incorrect evidence was submitted initially to the jury.
Right.
And so, and also, I've been practicing for close to 20 years now.
Okay.
And seeing cases where you will ask for information and then because they don't want to give it to you early, or maybe they don't want to disclose witnesses, they say, well, we're going to grand jury it now. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Why not go ahead and record those things? Because this is evidence.
We need to make that more transparent.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Transparency is so important.
Exactly.
It goes to credibility and trust.
Right. Now, since you're running against Bob McCullough, what is your platform? What is it that you can do differently that he's doing?
Well, to clarify, I'm not running against him.
Okay.
I'm running for county prosecutors.
All right now. Right, okay.
Right on.
So, and you know, and I say that because you know, no individual defines the secret. And if I get the honor of being elected, that same rule will apply to me. We're there to serve the public and to do what's right by the public. And so one of the big things that I'm running on is that we have to expand and better utilize our drug treatment, our mental health treatments, our diversionary courts. And that's so important because when we look at crime, particularly violent crime, most violent offenders don't start off with violent crime.
Right.
There's usually a progression. And they start off with drug possession, small cases. And if we give them the treatment before they progress to the violent crime, we often can, the statistics show when they get that kind of treatment, they are much less likely to reoffend. Because the biggest demographic of offenders are reoffenders.
Right.
So if we give them the treatment, the mental health treatment, the drug treatment that they need early, we're going to greatly reduce our crime rate, but also we're going to help people. And currently, there's just no commitment to these programs. There were over 6,000 cases filed last year. There's only 70 people in the drug courts.
That's right.
And the sole gatekeeper for who gets into these drug courts is the county prosecutor's office.
Right.
I'm taking one more step further, Lynda, is that the mental health docket, we know that 1 in 5 Americans deal with mental health issues. 50 to 60% of the people who come in contact with the criminal justice system are dealing with mental health issues.
Absolutely.
Now these people are on the mental health docket in St. Louis County.
Less than what the sheriff for you.
12.
See?
As of last month, 12. Sole gatekeeper for who gets in there? County prosecutor. So if I'm elected, we're going to expand the use of it because not only do they keep us safer, it's cheaper, and it helps people.
Now, this has been an ongoing conversation in the African American community since they have this. Exactly right. But since they've now decided that the opiate is a big crisis, definitely something that they looked at differently when it was a crack epidemic. Do you think since now it's an opioid epidemic as opposed to crack, with people that don't look like me being affected, that you might have a better shot at getting that reform in? Because, exactly.
And I would say this, is that when people of color and poor people are dealing with issues, they tend to get ignored.
Exactly.
And let me be clear, you go out into communities where poor whites are, they're in the same, they're getting similar treatment.
Exactly.
Being ignored and their problems being swept under the rug.
Exactly.
But now that we do start seeing these issues get to more affluent areas, the opioid crisis, and seeing thousands and thousands of people dying, which are by and large preventable deaths.
Exactly.
It is a wake-up call.
Right.
So we need to stop waiting until there's an all-out crisis and start addressing these issues now, because many of them are economic. There's a correlation between economics and these issues, but we don't address them until they affect our community.
Exactly.
And so we got to start looking at all of these communities as our community.
Exactly.
And our people.
And our people, absolutely. Wow. I just can't even ask anything other than that, because that is exactly where we are as a community. It takes one, as we say here, what's our, somebody took our sign.
Our community, our station.
Voice, our station, absolutely, or our voices. So tell us now, when is the election?
The election's August 7th.
Okay.
And so we got about 100 days.
Okay.
And we need to, we're knocking on doors. Matter of fact, we have volunteers now.
Okay.
As I leave here, I'm going right out. We'll be in the Ferguson area knocking on doors.
Great.
We have our offices opening on St. Charles Rock Road. That's 10124 St. Charles Rock Road.
Okay.
And so we'll be phone banking. So if anybody wants to volunteer, and then you can go on our Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, take your phones out now, please. Like our page, Wesley Bell for St. Louis County Prosecutor, because we're pushing out everything we're doing, knocking on doors.
Wonderful.
but also we need donations.
Okay, great.
It costs money.
Absolutely.
Mail costs money, and if we're going to unseat him,
right,
we're going to have to raise more money.
And you know what? It's time for us to get involved. We don't get involved. It's really sad to say it now, since I'm glad you told me that you're at the St. Charles Rock Road.
Yeah.
I live literally right across from the airport, so I need to connect with you guys so I can start helping out on that. And again, if you guys have any questions that I don't know how long we have you for, Wesley, how long are you going to be here?
How long?
Okay, he said how long we need him here. If you have any questions for him, listen, this is your station. We do this for you so that you'll have a voice. Give us a call at 314-388-9622. If you have any questions for Wesley about the voting process, what it is that the special prosecutor does, talk to us about that. What exactly does the county prosecutor do?
So the county prosecutor is the chief law enforcement agent, the chief law enforcement officer in St. Louis County.
Okay.
And decides on what misdemeanors and felonies are actually charged.
Okay.
So when officers make an arrest, they apply for warrants with the St. Louis County prosecutor.
Okay.
And the prosecutor, and why this is something that people need to prepare or be aware of, is that when the prosecutor has what's called discretion. Mm-hmm. I'm going to use a quick anecdote. On the Ferguson City Council, if there's something that I need to get passed, I need to get 3 other votes to get that legislation passed. Okay. But the prosecutor has what's called prosecutorial discretion. And if someone gets charged with some small amount of drugs, some nonviolent crime, I have the discretion to say, I'm going to charge you, or I'm going to have you do this drug treatment program so you can get help and avoid a conviction, avoid jail time. And that's important because it costs about $40,000 a year to incarcerate a human being. You save $10,000 to $15,000 per individual when you give them these alternatives as opposed to incarceration. So not only, and then all the other ancillary things that go along with it, is that when someone is, let's just say they get arrested and it takes them a week to make bond. Right. Well, most people's job isn't going to be waiting for them after a week. Exactly. Or if you have children and you're a single parent, right? Where are your kids going to go? Exactly. And so when you go through that process, even for a short period of time, a couple of weeks, it increases the likelihood of your life being turned upside down, and also it increases the likelihood of you now reoffending. Exactly. And so it's a win-win-win if we offer these services. Again, it makes us safer, it's cheaper, and most importantly, it helps people and their families. Why do you think that this has been something that they have fought so much against having this done? Well, again, the prosecutor currently has discretion. Okay. And there has never been a commitment. Again, out of 6,000 cases, there are a couple hundred people in all of these programs. Mm-hmm. That's it. A couple hundred people. Mm-hmm. And we have thousands and thousands of people dying from the opioid epidemic and heroin, which was a problem when this prosecutor came into office. And it's only gotten worse. Absolutely. And so, so I kind of make the argument to people is that why wouldn't you want change? You're looking at our violent crime rate. Well, those have shot up. Between 2014 and 2016, our homicide rate went up 91%. Oh, my goodness. Absolutely. The violent crime rate has shot up. Opioids and drug-related death has shot up. So what are we waiting on? And you're also seeing more crimes in areas that you didn't see before. Is that correct? Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of these are drug-related. Right. It's estimated somewhere around 80 to 85% of the people that come in contact with the criminal justice system are suffering from some drug dependency issues. If it's not directly related to drugs or committing a crime to get money for drugs. Exactly. So we start giving these people treatment, particularly when it's non-violent crimes. Again, we know violent offenders have to be held accountable. Absolutely. You cross that line, you lose our sympathy. Absolutely. Right. But non-violent offenders, we give them the help they need. We can stop them from becoming violent offenders, and that makes you and I less likely to be victims. Absolutely. It helps them too. So. And another thing that Al Sharpton talked about, and we talked about this in last week's show, the fact that if they're convicted, that sometimes it's a felony, you do your time, you still can't vote. So now you're taking away a right that somebody has if they can come back out of the system after paying their time, doing their time, come out, get a job, pay their taxes, but you still can't vote. Now let's clarify that now. Let's clarify that because that is a misconception. Are they working on that? People, no, we working on that actually. Okay. So if you are on probation or parole, you are right. You still cannot vote. But once you complete your probation or parole,
Mm-hmm.
you have the right to regain your voting rights are reinstated. Now you have to go file for them to
Okay.
the driver's license office or get a voter registration card. So you have to refile.
Okay.
But once you have finished that probation or parole, you regain your right to vote.
So we
unless
hear
there's
it there.
Unless it was for
Voting
fraud or
issues,
something
exactly.
like that.
All right, so see, and this is why we have this show. Because we were told that once you have that felony charge, you can't do anything about it. So, you heard this from Wesley Bell himself. So this is why we need someone like you as a prosecutor, so that way you can kind of let us know what's going on. A lot of the things, like you said, if it's up to his discretion, are you serious? Can I tell you how much information would not be shared if it was up to my discretion?
It's a double-edged sword.
It is a double-edged sword.
If you want to do it in a way that's adverse to the community, then you can do the things that we're saying, not letting people take advantage of drug court programs, not letting people take advantage of mental health programs. If you want to use that for the good,
Right.
you can expand those services, help more people, and that's going to help more people that look like us.
Absolutely.
Also, people from poor communities as well, and that can run the gamut.
There you go. Another thing I'd like you to talk about, Wesley, if you don't mind, is how we need to look at what you do. I want the kids that are listening to the show, teenagers that are listening to the show, possibly with their parents, and they're thinking, you know what, maybe I'd like to do something like that. Tell us what we need to concentrate on in school, in middle school, high school, college, so that we can start making a difference in our community. Not just yapping, but actually going in there and doing it and making a difference.
You know what, I kind of think of this in ways that I've talked to other friends of mine from different cultures, right? Particularly from the Asian community.
Okay.
And what they always say is, as far as their culture, culturally speaking, you pay tuition before you even pay rent. That's how much they value their education.
Right.
And I think that we can take a note from that in the African American community. We have to encourage our young people, and many of us do, let me be clear on that, but more so, we have to encourage our community that there is nothing more important than getting your education. And I was fortunate. My mother just tattooed that into my mind as a child. So even if a 5-year-old Wesley knew he was going to college and didn't even know what college was.
Exactly.
And so we have to start planting that mindset into our young people and letting them know that sports, music, those are great, but you have to have that foundation of your education to make it in this world.
Right.
And we know that. And other cultures have been better about that than we have.
Right.
That's something that we have to double down on as well.
Do you think that because we do tend to look at our sports heroes and our musicians as our heroes, that we don't value education as much as we need to? Because those are our heroes.
But I think it's more so that, when you look at the African American community, we are disproportionately live in economically challenged communities,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when you don't have food, it's hard to get focused on school. When
That
you're
is so
struggling to
true.
pay the rent,
Exactly.
and you're struggling to get to work,
Yeah.
because we don't have the best transportation system in St. Louis County,
Exactly.
it's harder to focus on those things.
Right.
So there's a correlation between poverty and lower IQ.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's harder to focus on your schoolwork when you're hungry.
Exactly.
So there's more to it, and we have to look at it more holistically. But in the meantime, we still have to make it a point of emphasis.
Okay, I love that. That's great. Can I ask you a question on the national level? All right, so we have a new president and new administration. We try to keep it positive here, guys.
You just brought me out sitting good, sun shining.
But, okay, so we know with what we dealt with here in August of 2014 with the Michael Brown murder. And then we actually had President Obama and the Justice Department work with the city of St. Louis and also with Robert McCullough, our St. Louis County prosecutor, apparently. Remember when the Justice Department brought down an issue of the things that we needed to do to make it better? And
also St. Louis County Police Department.
Was it the police department? So it didn't have anything to do with Robert McCullough? Because he said some very derogatory things about the... Okay, so we won't go there. But my question to you is, so we're seeing with this new administration some boldness for those that used to hide their racism, but now they're a little bit out and very empowered by it. How do you, thank God it hasn't really affected our community as bad as it could have been. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I'm not seeing some of the incidents like I'm seeing with the two brothers at the Starbucks happening here. But do you think as we continue on with this administration, as we now go into the third year of this, that this might trickle back down into the community? And our goal is to try to make this community strong before something like that happens again. What do you think?
I think, it's like my dad used to say when I would call him old, he would say, keep on living. And I think that I said, keep on living, and the more time you see this administration in office, the more things that we see that are adverse to our communities. And that's not, and fortunately, we have some allies. Our white brothers and sisters, our Asian and Hispanic brothers and sisters are seeing the same thing by and large about this administration. And so I fully anticipate we're going to see some big changes, the blue wave coming in August. And so that's why it's so important to get out and vote on August 7th in the primary elections, and then in November as well in the general election. It's so important because we cannot let this happen again. We cannot let, I don't even like putting his name next to president. Some people say 45. Cannot let 45. Cannot let this happen again. Yeah. We control it. It's Democrats, we have the numbers nationally. Right. But we just don't get out and vote as consistently as we should.
And why are we not? I know, okay. Eric Greitner, what do you think about our embattled governor?
I think the bell tolls for thee. I think it's just a matter of time. Yeah. He already didn't have friends in Democrats. Right. He also did not have the support of his own party, which is the supermajority in Jefferson City, who seems to be turning on him as well.
Big time, right?
It does not look good for Mr. Grace.
Wow. So again, sometimes what looks like gravy at the beginning can end up looking really bad at the end of the day.
But I think it exemplifies the fact that integrity actually matters.
There you go.
And when we see these character flaws, 45, as well as the government, I think that chickens come home to roost.
Yes, they do.
As was one thing.
Absolutely. You reap what you sow.
Exactly, and so. As Malcolm X said, I don't see that as a bad thing.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yes, they do.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Now, Wesley, I really want our listening audience to get out, to get to know you, to meet and greet. You have a meet and greet scheduled or a town hall scheduled before the election?
So,
if not, we need to set up.
I agree. So what we've been doing is that we've been setting up meet and greets all over. So if individuals want to host them, set those up. We had an opening reception in New City. We're having another one in St. Anne, and we'll continue to have them. So
we need to do one here in the Ferguson area. Absolutely. Okay, great.
So let's
Okay. Well, now I have Jump Street on here. I do apologize, Jump, my co-host. Are you still there? Jump? Okay, cool. I kind of forgot you were there. Mr. Wesley is so interesting. You have any questions for Mr. Wesley Clark?
How are you doing, Mr. Small?
I'm sorry, Wesley Bell. I made it the...
How you doing, Mr. Bell?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Thanks for joining us today. I was just listening to some of the things you were saying, and as it relates to the opioid epidemic, I was having a conversation about 5 months ago with a coworker of mine, and I was trying to recall when they started labeling, a addiction as a disease, because I never had always identified it that way. And now they're taking a turn and taking one part of the community, and now they've labeled it as a disease. And we were kind of debating on it, because he said it's always been classified that way. I said, no, it hasn't. But do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that as we learn more about these issues, we're learning that it's just not as simple as a choice. Nancy Reagan, when I was a child, said, just say no. But what we're finding out is that with this disease, and that's what it is that drugs do things that literally change people's brains. And so it's not as easy as just saying no, because there are changes in your brain, particularly with opioids and heroin, where you cannot make those decisions that some of us take for granted. And so I think it's a good thing that we're recognizing the severity of these issues, and that's why I'm such a proponent for treatment, particularly with nonviolent offenders, because again, we can prevent them from progressing to violent offenders. We can help facilitate them becoming productive citizens, which helps our community on so many other ancillary levels that we're not even paying attention to.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's funny.
No, go ahead. I was just saying I agree 100%.
Okay, I was just thinking, it's funny when you Speaker Nancy Reagan said and her no, just say no campaign. I remember that back in the day as well as we were growing up. And I wish people could do the same thing with racism. The people who are perpetrating this, just say no. You know, for the racism and so forth. But it seems to be a lot more complicated than that. But I agree with what you were saying.
And I would add to that too is that with racism, you're right, it's much more complicated. But what would help is if we need to start we need to start educating people on it.
Yeah.
You know, implicit biases, things of that nature. Because when people are aware of, because what we know is racism is taught.
Right.
You don't come out of the womb being racist. It's taught. It's part of the culture, and so
it's a learned behavior. Right.
It's a learned behavior, absolutely, and so. Particularly when it comes to law enforcement, because I'm running for prosecutor, I kind of focus on those things, and that's why it's so important that our officers have cultural bias training, implicit bias training, and things of that nature, because we all have our biases. Let's be honest, that's what implicit bias training teaches us. We all have them. It's that when you become more aware of them, and then you make better decisions. It's also about education. I mean, oftentimes with respect to history, we've been miseducated. A lot of our history has been changed or erased, and so that brings back a manifestation of incorrect history, and it feeds racism when we are taught that, oh well, black people, your history started at slavery, and again, I'm oversimplifying to a certain extent, but I think you get the point that I'm making is that when people understand that all cultures have a lot to contribute to society, it starts to eliminate, you're not going to eliminate racism, but you at least start to
open a dialogue.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that we talk about on this show that is so important, because I've actually mentioned to the guys here that I work for a company. Now, listen, this was in 2004. These people in Baden, Missouri, African American community, had never, in the 30 years that they had been there, had an African American in their office. They had them in the warehouse, but never in the office. They were asking me questions that I remember being asked in 1968 when we moved into the Ferguson, like the first or second black family in the neighborhood. But that's because, and I asked them, I said, guys, don't you have any black friends? They were like, no. You know, just the people that we work with, and that's on a superficial basis, you know what I say, because I only know you Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, and they said basically what we get from you guys by how you guys act, the way you interact, is what we see on television and on the movies.
And I think that you make a very good point. I think that we have to get out of our comfort zone.
We do.
And strive for not just superficial relationships, but meaningful relationships.
Exactly.
When we eat together, when we worship together, we start to get to know one another.
Exactly.
And I think that's important for all different types of people to do. And we're so segregated.
We are. I know.
And so literally, it's not even about just the meaningful relationships, but learn about other cultures.
Exactly.
I remember when I got to undergrad, I went to Lynda. I had never heard a Rolling Stones song. But I literally, in my mind, I was like, you know what, I have to expand my knowledge.
Exactly.
And listen to something.
Right.
People would make references, and I wouldn't get them because these common mainstream songs I hadn't heard. I was, Tupac and stuff like that. So, but the funny thing is that when I started reaching out to different types of people, I realized, wait, they're actually good people.
Absolutely.
These songs, I'm actually a Rolling Stones fan. I like their music.
Absolutely.
And so you learn things, but sometimes it takes that initiative.
Exactly. Exactly. And a lot of that comes from, just like Jeff was saying, from our parents, what we're taught. If you see your parents stuck in just a group of people this is who they associate with on a regular basis, year in and year out, you're going to do the exact same thing. Exactly. Right.
It's the right mind.
Absolutely.
If your parents are in jail, you are more likely
to go to jail.
We got to break those patterns.
Yeah, I call them generational curses, but either way, we have to break them.
And they can be.
Absolutely, they can.
Education.
Sure.
When necessary, treatment.
Exactly. Right. Well, even I'm going to give up just my own personal story to kind of segue into something else I want to kind of talk to you about, and that is our parents. And now I'm a little older. I just celebrated the big 6-0. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I love to hear that. Thank you. But my parents, their generation was strictly go to school, get a good education, get one job, keep that job forever till you retire, And it's like, excuse me, I like sales, I want to do my own, I want to have my own business. I want to do something different. There it is. I drove my parents crazy. We talk a lot about the fact that we need to have different conversations with our children now because, jobs are great, but the jobs are disappearing. And we're not being trained on what we really need, like robotics. I look at these kids now that are doing all the video games, and at first we used to complain, oh, you guys are spending too much. No, this is where they're learning a special tool by learning how to do this. So let's talk to me about what you guys have, what you might have in mind for bringing more entrepreneurship to African American communities, especially in the St. Louis County area. Is that something you could do as a prosecutor?
As a prosecutor, obviously that doesn't relate directly to the job, but it's interesting you bring that up because I do believe that we all need to utilize our platforms and not just inside our own box. And so, and I say that to mean is that, I can just focus on law enforcement, but I think that I'm doing my community a disservice when I just limit my voice to those areas. I think those things do need to be addressed.
Exactly.
And someone with a larger platform should talk about those issues because, you can even tie it into lower criminal crime rates. Because when people have more opportunity, they commit less crime.
Right.
So that's not my area of expertise.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do, as an educator, I do talk to young people and try to expose them to different things and take them into the community so they get to find out about jobs that they need to know about.
Exactly.
So I think that is very important.
Exactly. And you know what? And I see more schools because I remember my son actually graduated from Webster. At the time, I was a real estate agent. So one of the teachers invited me to come in to talk to the class about becoming a real estate agent. She said, because we've got some African American females in here that have never thought about doing something like being an agent. I said, you know what, that was an opportunity that we were never told that we could do either. So it was great to be able to go in and actually talk to them about the type of opportunities that are out there. And guys, this was in '97, so it's even more opportunity out there. With the internet and the technology, it's just amazing. Now, another question that I'd like to ask you about is, cool. Now, let's talk about, and I don't know how you might feel about this. I don't know how you feel about this, or just maybe just give us some of your thoughts on legalized marijuana. Do you think this is something that's going to be something that we might be able to get in the state of Missouri, and how do you think that will affect the crime rate?
So, the way I look at that is that marijuana is not my thing.
Okay.
To each his own.
Exactly.
Not my thing.
Exactly.
At the same time, I do not think anyone should see the inside of a jail for small amounts of marijuana.
Right.
I'm sorry. If I get the honor of serving as a prosecutor and someone gets a small amount of marijuana, I'm looking at two things. Either we're not going to charge, or there's a concern that there's a larger problem and we're going to get some drug treatment.
There you go.
But for small amounts of marijuana, I cannot see. And if someone has real statistics and be ready, because I've done my research on
Okay.
that suggest that marijuana is something that we should be spending $40,000 a year to incarcerate individuals and turning their lives upside down.
Right.
I'm all for hearing this information, but I do not understand the justification.
The numbers don't add up.
The medical experts
Exactly.
are seeing that are seeing the truth. I mean, the evidence coming out. So that's my position.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I know you said that you're going to have to take off. So, any last words for our listening audience? And thanks so much for coming in. This has been great.
Just that, if you want to see change, it's not going to just happen. We have to make it happen.
Right.
And on August 7th, we have a chance to make it happen. We have the same person in this office since 1991, close to 30 years. And again, just like I said a second ago, you have information or evidence suggesting that we're in a good place and that we've been progressing, let me know, because I see higher crime rates. I see less people getting to utilize services that they need, but then also I see a lack of transparency and trust. And that's part of what we saw in Ferguson, is that that particular prosecutor that talked, no one believed it.
Right.
Because there was a lack of credibility, and we have a lot of reasons not to trust in this current administration. So I would say you have an opportunity where we tell people to help you remember the name, ring the bell.
Absolutely. Ring the bell. All right. Wesley Bell, St. Louis County Prosecutor, August the 7th.
Yes.
Get out. I'm going to be talking
And
to
I
you guys.
hope Wesley wins.
Absolutely.
Time for McCullough to go.
We've looked at the numbers. We've looked at these numbers inside and out. If we get the vote out, we are going to win.
Okay. But we need to help you raise money and you get out here and do some door knocking. So do me a favor. Let me shoot you one of my business cards. I'm also an author and a publisher. So
I'm aware.
And need to call in and let us know what's up. Feel free.
Social media specialist, actually. So I have no problem promoting your stuff online. There is my cell phone number. Give me a call. We're going to try to see what we can do to do a town hall meeting. I would love to do a town hall meeting where they can ask you questions just like we did here. Want to get you back on the show before August, so that way anything that you need us to make the public aware of, just shoot us a message. I'll give you my email address, and we'll definitely have you back on. You can call in. We're 100% behind you because a change has got to come.
Yes.
It has to.
100% free.
Right. Absolutely.
All right, thank you. So August 7th, regardless, get out and vote.
Get out and
vote.
vote.
That don't vote, get ignored.
Exactly.
Unfortunate truth.
Exactly. I was thinking we have this great parking lot up here. Do we need to do some type of voter registration drive?
I think we should. I think we should
too.
I don't think the pastor has no problem with that.
Pastor here, okay? And see what we can do. Again, Wesley Bell, thank you so much for stopping by.
Our own.
Wesley Bell, all right.
Mr. Bell, I wish you all the best. It's time for McCullough to go.
Exactly. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime, and we definitely want you back. So enjoy your day. Okay.
Mr. Bell, social media?
All right.
Wesley Bell for St. Louis County Prosecutor.
Okay, we can remember that.
Okay, and tell us your social media, where we can reach you online,
So
Facebook.
Wesley Bell for St. Louis County Prosecutor. Just search us on Facebook. Our website is votewesley.com.
Okay.
Our office is 10124 St. Charles Rock Road, about a mile down the street from the old Northwest Plaza.
Oh, exactly. Okay.
I know that's it.
So, yeah.
Oh, you're literally right around the corner from me. So it sounds good. Okay, great. Send me that information. I'm going to blow it up on social media. Guys, do you hear that? Get out August the 7th. We got to get that vote out. All right. And so shout out to Coletta Hendricks, Robert Nald, and Deborah Allen, who has joined us on Ferguson USA Hot Talk Radio. All right, let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with the Ivory Club. Is this your thing?
It's your thing, Wesley. Do it however way you want to do it. Thank you, sir.